Hello, and welcome back to Aperspace. And in this episode, we are continuing our journey through our planet's history. Last time, we discussed the darkest era of Earth's history, the Hadean. But after this, things were better. Earth cooled down, and the first drops of water fell on Earth's surface. And then it kept raining. And then it rained some more. Imagine extreme torrential rain lasting for thousands of years, non-stop. That is pretty much how much it rained. And that's what filled up our oceans. But where did all that water come from? Earth formed with pretty much no water. So it had to come from somewhere else. But where? Remember I told you at the end of last video to think about how all the destruction helped to create life on Earth? Well, now I'm going to answer how the late heavy bombardment helped in this. See, the comets and asteroids from the outer solar system are made out of rock, dust, primarily ices. This includes water ice. Scientists have found out that Earth is the correct distance away from the Sun so that objects that crash into the Earth, like asteroids or comets, hit Earth at the speed where the water will integrated into the planet, but not so fast that the crust gets blown away into space, carrying all that water. After this, the first instances of life occurred in hydrothermal vents in the deep ocean. But only microbial life could survive, because Earth's atmosphere was not suited to any animal life from today. Earth's early atmosphere was mainly composed of water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, and small amounts of nitrogen and ammonia. And to the early life on Earth, oxygen was a poisonous gas. Yes, you heard that right. A poisonous gas. And oxygen didn't exist in the early atmosphere because it's highly reactive. It would just go away into some other compounds. So it had to be created by life. And that's what happened. The Great Oxygenation event was a massive event in Earth's history. It was a huge extinction 2.5 billion years ago. And as the name suggests, it was the first time oxygen stably appeared in Earth's atmosphere. It came primarily from cyanobacteria. They mutated and learned how to do photosynthesis. But there was a problem with this emergence of oxygen in Earth's atmosphere and the reduction of carbon dioxide. See, this mass extinction caused many species to start using photosynthesis to produce glucose, which is a type of sugar. This had some knock-on effects to the elements in Earth's atmosphere. One of the reactants in photosynthesis is carbon dioxide, and one of the products is oxygen. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas which traps infrared light. So our planet stays warm. Nowadays, carbon dioxide contributes to climate change, but without any CO2. Earth's average temperature would be about -20 degrees Celsius. By the way, if you want to know how much carbon dioxide makes up our atmosphere, it makes up approximately 0.04%. That little carbon dioxide has had a huge change in the temperature of our planet. Now, traveling back to 2 billion years ago, the volume of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere was plummeting, and the volume of oxygen was surging. Oxygen is not a greenhouse gas. And also, to make things worse for all the greenhouse gases, it was reacting with methane, another greenhouse gas, which is much more potent than carbon dioxide. Due to this reduction of greenhouse gases, the global temperature fell rapidly, and Huronian glaciation began, the first major global ice age in Earth's history. There is a possibility that it was so extreme that there was a snowballer phase where the whole planet was covered in ice. There were some other effects to the Great Oxygenation event. For example, lots of the oxygen in the oceans, which still existed because ice is less dense than liquid water, and also lots of the oxygen in the atmosphere, reacted with iron in the crust, creating iron oxide, which made our crust appear red. It's what makes Mars appear red too. Also, aerobic life forms supported by oxygen, they thrived. But most anaerobic life went extinct. Due to these events, the relatively stable element of nitrogen started to make up about 78% of our atmosphere, becoming the most abundant element. Oxygen's levels stabilized at around 21%, when the balance between organisms using photosynthesis and organisms using aerobic respiration was finally achieved. That is the end of my video today, and stay tuned for Earth Part 3, where we'll be discussing the last 1.5 billion years of Earth's history. Thanks for watching.